Campaign has brought out a very special surrogate, Melania Trump, former First Lady and the only Slovenian you can name off the top of your head. Out to this Trump rally and talk to people about what she'd been through. They weren't necessarily great at listening to her, but there are jokes about this marriage. But when I look at their shared love of exploiting our political system to sell shit for personal profit, I just see two soulmates.
Is Melania actually planning her post-White House escape? Jordan Klepper seems to think so, and he's got the evidence that sent Trump into a full-blown panic attack on social media. What exactly did Klepper reveal that has Trump so terrified of sleeping alone in Mar-a-Lago?
Well, we don't see a lot of Melania, but she's also been on a media tour this week. Fox News, social media, your kid's piano recital. And not just in America. Globally, we're tuning people out. Frankly, we're bad at talking to other people.
The answer involves a previously unseen contract, several unnamed sources close to the Trumps, and footage that Trump's team has been desperately trying to bury since 2018. Even Trump's most loyal supporters are having trouble defending this one. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now back to the video.
She's out there because she's a supportive wife who believes in her husband's America first. I'm with you. She has a book to sell. Changing somebody's mind is hard to do. And I think if you are approaching something like, I want to change their mind, you ain't gonna get anywhere.
Jordan Klepper has been poking fun at Trump for years now, but if you want to see the former president really lose it, just mention Melania's apparent desire to escape their marriage. While Trump can shrug off jokes about his hair or his business failures, the suggestion that his wife might be counting down the days until freedom sends him into a complete tailspin. In Klepper's recent segment, he masterfully constructed a narrative about Melania's supposed growing distance from Trump. The comedian didn't just make random jokes. He built an entire storyline around evidence, suggesting Melania has been planning her post-White House, post-Donald life for quite some time. And boy, did it hit a nerve. You can always tell when a joke really hurts Trump because his truth social responses turn into all-caps therapy sessions.
Now you have to communicate the economics behind climate catastrophe and the time it takes for a potty break. As Donald prepared to go down to his office on Wednesday morning, he and I had a private moment. Congratulations, I said. What an achievement.
After Klepper's segment aired, Trump couldn't help himself, firing off a series of unhinged posts calling Klepper an unfunny loser and accusing him of being jealous of my beautiful wife. Nothing says, I'm totally secure in my marriage, like screaming about it in all caps on social media at 3 a.m. What's fascinating is Trump's pattern of overreaction specifically to marriage jokes. When comedians mock his policies or his hair, Trump usually responds with a predictable insult or two. But jokes about Melania wanting out? That's when the digital meltdown begins. It's like watching someone step on a landmine they didn't know was there. The explosion is immediate and completely disproportionate to the trigger.
All those other people, and you won. And if you actually want somebody to see something that they haven't seen before and cross that divide into believing something else, they have to acknowledge that they have a...
Klepper's comedy arsenal includes some devastating Melania jokes that appear to wound Trump more deeply than any policy criticism ever could. In one segment, Klepper suggested Melania has a prison escape plan carefully hidden away. In another, he joked about a countdown calendar hidden in her closet, marking off days until she can finally make her exit. These aren't just random jabs. They're precision strikes at Trump's deepest insecurity, that his trophy wife is with him for reasons other than love. One of Klepper's most brilliant techniques is using Trump's own awkward words against him. Instead of just making claims, Klepper plays clips where Trump himself discusses his marriage in the most uncomfortable, unconvincing ways possible. It's like watching someone try to convince you they're a great swimmer while actively drowning.
You're the President of the United States of America. And you're the First Lady, he said. Good luck. Hell, even right now, this TED Talk is only 7 minutes. I remember when TED Talks used to be 18 minutes long.
The contrast between Trump's claims of marital bliss and his painfully stiff interactions with Melania creates comedy gold without Klepper having to add much commentary. The gap between Trump's public claims about his perfect marriage and the behind-the-scenes reality makes for perfect comedic material. While Trump proclaims they never fight and have the most wonderful relationship, former White House staff have painted a very different picture. Separate bedrooms, cold interactions, and a relationship that looks more like a business arrangement than a love match. Klepper doesn't even need to make jokes sometimes. He just needs to place these contradictions side by side and let the audience connect the dots.
Trump's big promises for his second term was deporting violent immigrants from America, and he often mentioned one violent gang in particular. But since then, it's gotten harder, more difficult. Screens have placed an impediment between people and thought, partisanship.
Perhaps the most genius part of Klepper's approach is how he builds anticipation by teasing the so-called contract clause he claims to have discovered in Trump and Melania's marriage agreement. Like a master storyteller, Klepper doesn't reveal everything at once. He hints at explosive details, leaving the audience and Trump hanging. Is there a specific date when Melania can leave without financial penalty? Is there a behavior clause that would nullify prenuptial restrictions? The speculation alone is enough to drive Trump up the wall. So which jokes about Melania seem to hurt Trump the most? Without question, it's the one suggesting she's secretly counting down the days until she can leave him without losing her financial security. These jokes strike at Trump's core fears: abandonment, rejection, and perhaps most painful of all, the idea that his wife is with him only for the money and status. For a man whose entire identity is built around being a winner who gets whatever he wants, the suggestion that his own wife is plotting her escape is simply unbearable.
Leaving me grateful to the more level-headed man swinging a pitchfork. I gotta wipe away a tear on that one. That is a heartwarming moment that definitely wasn't created by Chet.
Trump can handle being called corrupt or incompetent. In fact, he seems to almost enjoy those fights, but suggests Melania has a calendar marking off days until freedom. And suddenly, the former president of the United States is firing off all-caps rants at 3 a.m. like a teenager whose crush just rejected their prom invitation.
Trendy Aragua, trendy Aragua, trendy Arguay.
I think the problem we have right now is a crisis of certainty. I talked to everybody on all sides who are very certain about their beliefs.
What makes this all the more revealing is that Trump, a man who built his brand on "you're fired" and claims to be the toughest guy in any room, completely falls apart when facing jokes about something as personal as his marriage. It's as if Klepper found the one pressure point that bypasses all of Trump's defensive mechanisms. You can criticize his policies, mock his appearance, question his business acumen, but suggest Melania is planning her getaway and the facade crumbles instantly. What makes Klepper's approach to Trump so brilliant is his laser focus on the one vulnerability in Trump's armor: his marriage. By zeroing in on Melania, Klepper exploits a territory where Trump's illusion of control dissolves instantly. It's psychological chess. Trump's entire identity hinges on projecting dominance, but jokes about his wife planning her escape reveal the painful truth that even his trophy wife might be counting down the days. That's the genius of political comedy at its finest. It doesn't just make us laugh, it strips away the facade of invulnerability. As Trump stumbles through his campaign, Klepper will continue yanking this thread because nothing exposes a man's true nature like his reaction to jokes about things he desperately wishes he could control.